Hi everyone. I've often wondered what the warp really is, and what it is like for the Chaos Space Marines in the Warhammer 40k universe to live in the warp. Where does the warp come from, and why is it full of so many awful demonic things, instead of being a place of peace and tranquility? I've also asked myself why so many Astartes of the fallen legions choose to follow Abaddon instead of pledging themselves to one of the ruinous powers, or remain loyal to their original founding chapter. To answer these questions and gain some insight into the true nature of the warp, I looked for what Iskandar Khayon, also pronounced Iskandar Khayon, had to say on the matter, since he has lived in the Eye of Terror for millennia and was one of Abaddon's closest lieutenants. I would like to read a passage from the book The Talon of Horus by Aaron Dembski-Bowden, where Iskandar Khayon talks about the true nature of the warp and why so many Chaos Space Marines have pledged their loyalty to Abaddon. Blood never mattered to Abaddon. The old legions, the old bloodlines, the old legacies, these things meant nothing to him then, and they mean nothing to him now. They bear the patina of undeserved pride. To the Black Legion, the other 8 bloodlines are nothing more than defeat masquerading as defiance. And no matter what you have heard regarding his tyrant's ways, he cares nothing for unquestioning servitude among his inner elite, nor does he value loyalty that can be bought. What matters to him, what matters to his armies, are the bonds of brotherhood. In an empire that exiled us, in a haven that hated us, and in the shadows of fathers who failed us, Abaddon offered something new, something pure. To many of our kind, they see themselves as nothing more than their father's sons. They became flawed reflections of their Primarch's ambitions and ideals, seeing validity in no other way of life. But I ask you the same question I asked them. Are you not souls in your own right? Are you merely the generational reflections of the men and women who made you? The answer is simple because the question is ludicrous. We are all so much more than the mirror images of those who sired us. Abaddon lived that truth, even back in those earliest days, even before we convinced him to return and take up the mantle of War Master. Eventually he would unite thousands of warriors cast in the images of their failed fathers, teaching these lost sons to be brothers instead. He made us look to the future instead of fighting for a past we'd already lost. That is when life within the Great Eye ceased to feel like purgatory. The warp-touch void became a haven, and its power promised opportunity. I have told you there is a malevolence in the warp, and this is true, but it is not the whole truth. When you hear those of us among the armies of the damned speak of the gods and their never-born children, you are hearing us lie to ourselves, not for the joy of ignorance, but for the necessity of it. We perceive these things in this way for the solace of sanity. The godsworn, whom the Imperium considers nothing more than unwashed hordes of insane cultists and deluded heretics, preach the malignant master's omnipotence. These miserable masses cry of chaos as a sentient evil and the power within its warping touch. Any psyker, be they soul-bound to the golden throne or ascendant among the officer ranks of the Adeptus Astartes, knows the simple truth that a human soul is a light in the dark. A soul is a beacon in the layer that lies behind reality, and demons are drawn to such soul fires by eternal malicious hunger. The soul of a psyker, the most valuable prize of all, burns 100 times as bright. Yes, all true, and no, all wrong. Do you know what really lies beyond the veil? Can you conceive of what the warp really is? Us. It is us. The truth is that there is nothing in this galaxy but us. It is our emotions, our shadows, our hates and lusts and disgusts that lie in wait on the other side of reality. That's all. Every thought, every memory, every dream, every nightmare that any of us have ever had. The gods exist because we gave birth to them. They are our own vileness and fury and cruelty given form, imbued with divinity, because we cannot conceive of anything so powerful without giving it a name. The primordial truth, the pantheon of chaos undivided, the ruinous powers, the dark gods. And forgive me, I can barely speak that last name without forcing my scribe to record nothing but breathy laughter for several moments. The warp is a mirror that swirls with the smoke of our burning souls. Without us there would be no reflection, no patterns to perceive, no shadow of our desires. When we look into the warp, it looks back. It looks back with our eyes, with the life we have given it. The Eldar believe they damn themselves. Perhaps, perhaps not. Whether they accelerated or heralded their demise is irrelevant. They were damned the moment the first ape-like human picked up a rock and used it to break open his brother's skull. We are alone in this galaxy, alone with the nightmares of all who have lived and hoped and raged and wept before us, alone with our ancestors' nightmares. So remember these words. The gods do not hate us. They do not scream for the destruction of all we hold dear. They are us. They are our sins coming home to the hearts that gave them life. We are the gods, and the hells that we have made are our own. Based on the words of Iskandar Khayon, it would seem that the warp is a reflection of us. It is our fears, our hopes, our angers, lusts, perversions, and the corruption that eats away at most mortals. Humanity in the 41st millennium is in a sorry state, and largely ignorant about the galaxy at large, and has forgotten most of the knowledge from earlier ages. If the warp is a reflection of the state of humanity and its emotions, then it is not surprising that the Immaterium is a place of such horrors. It would also indicate that the so-called gods of chaos don't seem to really care about humanity other than to feed off their negative emotions in the warp. When we come to Khayon's words about Abaddon, it seems that Abaddon is the only one in the Eye of Terror who gives the fallen Astartes the chance to have the brotherhood and sense of purpose they once had before the Horus heresy. Abaddon gives them the chance to fight for something greater than themselves, rather than squabbling over territory, ammunition, or slaves in the constant yet meaningless battles the Chaos Gods play in their great game. Abaddon also gives them the chance to have vengeance on the Imperium and their corpse emperor in the form of Black Crusades, something which only Chaos Undivided can really offer them, what with the other factions in the Eye being too concerned with fighting amongst themselves. What do you think about the nature of the warp, and why Abaddon inspires such loyalty? Leave your comments below, and thanks for watching.